Hello and welcome back to LFC Transfer Room. Back again with another preview ahead of a big important match tomorrow against Manchester City. Huge game, and joined by Kev. Hopefully, Dan will be joining us in a bit. But just Kev for now. Kev, how are you doing?
All good, mate. All good. I'm really excited about the game tomorrow. Feeling very confident. Although by the time the game starts, I probably won't be. But at the minute, I'm feeling good. How are you, Owen? We all good, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, I'm starting to get nervous about the football, to be fair now, because I think we've all seen the news about KONATE, and we'll get into that. But yeah, I'm just feeling very, very nervous. And if I'm being totally honest, I know if Matty was here, he'd be having a right go at me. But I'm not confident going into this game. I think it's the first time in a very, very long time that I genuinely look at it and think I struggle to see a way in which we get the 3 points, and that's at home. So I don't know, Kev. Do you agree with that first of all?
Do you know what? On if you're looking at it as it is at the minute, and the kind of form that City are being on this season, a realism would be to think that we'll be lucky to get a draw with the way we've started. But the fact that they made changes in the week tends to think that they don't think they're taking us lightly. I think it always will be a big pinnacle game for both sides. The fact that I go into confidence because we're still the only side still to have beaten City this season, and I've stopped Haaland from scoring. So hopefully, fingers crossed that will continue tomorrow. But no, I'm fairly confident. Don't get me wrong. I was more confident Thursday than I on Thursday than I am now, possibly. That's coming down a little bit with what's happened to KONATE, which we'll probably get into. And the fact that the likelihood is that Milner will be playing right back tomorrow, which I kind of predicted that would happen, because that's the way it'll go. And we'll probably see Henderson playing tomorrow as well. So, there's going to be a lot in the media that will be not happy with that. But no, I'm still confident. I'm still thinking that we're going to win, but who knows?
It was typical Liverpool at the minute, wouldn't it? To be go and play the way we've been playing, and then go and absolutely blow Man City out the water. So,
We
but
could.
sorry.
We could. You don't know how much confidence they They might have got from the Rangers game during the week, and we changed it up a little bit. And by resting Mo, we couldn't do what Man City did because we weren't in a position in the Champions League to be able to rest players. But we done it cunningly and we done it cleverly. Although Jota we had to rest him in the first half, and he was meant to start. But the fact that we rested Salah kind of said to him, right, well, if you go on, you've got to do something. He comes on, scores the fastest Champions League hat-trick. Now, we're playing against a mediocrity, I think, in Rangers, but confidence that Nunes scores, Salah scores, Jota's assistant, Firmino was on fire. It bodes well. Do you know what I mean? I'm quite confident that we will score tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm confident we'll score. But it's just the worry of Erling Haaland, and hopefully, his first game, obviously against us in the Community Shield. Hopefully, it's a little bit of a curse against Liverpool for Haaland. Hopefully, he'll have that little bit of mentality maybe in his head, thinking in the back of his mind, which maybe there could be at Anfield. It's a fantastic stadium, historic stadium, of course, and yeah, but maybe he goes there thinking he's played there once for Salzburg in the Champions League.
Yeah,
I think he did all right
and
that night as
scored,
well. Yeah, he
and
did.
scored.
Hopefully, he can't replicate that. But yeah, I think Man City, they've got so many great options, haven't they?
They
Away
have,
from Haaland, who
but
do you kind of fear the most away from Haaland? Sorry.
From Haaland, I always fear Foden, and you've also got to fear De Bruyne. If you're giving him space in the middle of that park, he will find. He's a bit like our Trent, with his passing. That's the kind of, and then you got Foden as well, who will be licking his lips if he's playing tomorrow, being on that left hand side and going up against Milner if he starts. They will go on the front foot. They look good, but I do think they are culpable at the back in conceding, and they're not as good at the back as what they are. They tend to rely a lot on Haaland's goals, and if Haaland gets injured this season, I'm struggling to see where they're getting those goals that he he's currently scoring from. Where they're going to get that from, apart from the likes of a Foden. They've changed their style of play for him. And, it's the Foden, De Bruyne for me are the two that I look at as if you're giving them space and room. Cancelo started well this season for them as well, and has always been up there for an assist. But they're mainly the two deadliest out without Haaland there. Who is it for you, Owen? Is it the same or?
It's an interesting point you raise there without the striker Haaland. What would they do? And I think normally I would totally agree with you saying, yeah, I think they'd be absolutely knackers. But last season we saw that they can do it, can't they? They hardly played Gabriel Jesus, and when they did, they put him on the wing. So it shows you that they don't need that striker. They've just got so much attacking quality, whether it's Bernardo Silva, even Jack Grealish, who I don't particularly rate, if I'm being totally honest, but I still think he can come in and do a job. You've got that new guy Alvarez from River Plate, who he looked like he started well. So yeah, they've just got all the quality around the pitch, haven't they? And I think Phil Foden though. I remember last season, I think it was at Anfield, real difficult chance, and he put it right in the side netting against Alisson. So I think that cop ends. So yeah, I think it's going to be a real tough game. And James Milner right back, even though I absolutely love him, I think it's going to be a real test for him. And I don't know how he can play it and come out successfully, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know how he goes about it. I don't know how he sort of goes into it, because obviously you're going to try and foul, but James Milner, he's going to pick up that tactical yellow card, and then after that, then he's going to be right on a knife edge for the rest of the game. So maybe you've got on the basis, you play for 60 minutes and then you maybe rotate it around, even though you wouldn't want to change Joe Gomez from centre half if he does start there. So what do you do?
It's difficult because it's as though he's relying on his go-to men, which this season hasn't really worked out for us in certain games. And those go-to men are usually the Henderson, the Fabinho, and they also, you've got a Milner coming in as well. It's difficult for these players now because they're getting old, the languishing on. I see Milner. I don't see what the plan B is if he, as you said, Owen, which I think he will do. I think he will get a yellow card tomorrow. He was lucky to stay on the pitch last season against City at home. I don't know where we go to after that, because before I came on, I was trying to wonder, is there any other option I would do? And I was thinking about playing Robertson and Tsimikas and playing one of them on the right-hand side with the cover with Gomez in the middle, which I think he'll go with alongside Van Dijk. And then you got the pace of Gomez. Yeah, he's not naturally forced to be over there, but I think you could get a job out of those two playing, and then have the backup of Milner if things goes belly up, which, likelihood is it could do, because the way we start games at the minute and conceding 9 goals, the first goal in the first 9 games out of 12 games, is unless we're starting at 100% tomorrow and 100 miles an hour, you only have to look at Arsenal last week. Didn't start well for the first 10, 15 minutes, and then we come into the game and then we give away a stupid goal at the end of the first half. It's difficult. I'd like us not to start Milner. And that would be my choice. I wouldn't move Fabinho over to the right-hand side or at centre back, because then you lose in what Fabinho can do in the middle of the park, which is what we need tomorrow. And we need our strongest 11 and our best players in their best positions. And I don't think that is the case for Fabinho, moving them out, because then you're relying on the likes of a Henderson and a Thiago to trying to win us the game from in the midfield. It's difficult. I would be looking at possibly playing either 3 at the back, if that's even feasible tomorrow. I doubt it is. Who would those 3 be? It'll be Van Dijk. It would be you've got Gomez.
Fabinho then maybe. Shout.
Yeah.
Thiago. I like that. I do rate that. But then who do you play at right wing back?
Exactly. But I think but then the problem you've got is if you play Milner there, we need better cover for him if he's playing right back tomorrow, and he needs to have that kind of like a Henderson, he needs around about 2 players around him. We need someone with a bit of pace, just in case the ball goes over the top. We need to see who's playing on that wing tomorrow as well, because
I think maybe Milner at right wing back could work well actually, because then you have
could,
that defensive cover,
yeah.
and then the midfield like Jordan Henderson, Thiago next to him, and even Mo Salah at right wing who can track back. So I think probably if you're going to play James Milner, I think that would probably be the system that suit him most, and even the crossing the ball. I think James Milner can do that really well, and precisely. So that's potential shout right there.
It is. But again, it's difficult tomorrow, and especially with that right back position. Had Ramsey had a few games behind him, then possibly would have put him there as without having this heart attack thing tomorrow, which when every time the ball's over on the right hand side, we're having a heart attack just in case Milner cocks up. So it's going to be difficult tomorrow. It's a tough test, and it's always going to be tough when we play City, and we always don't seem to have our. I always feel we play better when we're not our strongest, and tomorrow I think that we could actually see that tomorrow, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Konate out, obviously a massive blow. Rumours came out on Thursday when he wasn't pitching in training, so people put 2 and 2 together and was like, yeah, he's probably not going to be fit for Sunday. Yet there's still no guarantee that he won't be playing, but he's a doubt. And you know what Liverpool are like, they don't want to play someone if they're unfit and not 100%. That's kind of how we function, and I think in some aspects you have to respect that. And I think if he's not going to be 100%, but at the same time I think probably Konate at 60% is probably going to be better than better for the team, really.
Exactly. To us, we would absolutely go with the 60% Konate, but if you start doing stuff like that, then what happens then is that we then lose him for longer rather than the one game that he may potentially miss tomorrow. If there's any chance that he plays and he gets half an hour, then maybe he comes on in the second half and we move Gomez to right back, and then we put Konate in the middle with Van Dijk. Depending on how the game goes, depends if we need him. That's if that's if that's an actual if he can play tomorrow. If he can't, I'd sooner not. I'd always go on the side of caution, especially with our centre halves. The last thing we need now is our centre back, our main one, to go missing again for a few weeks because we decided to risk him against City. It's hard to take as a fan at times when we see these, but fingers crossed it's not a really bad muscle tear it's just one game that he misses.
Oh, absolutely, because I think we all saw against Rangers, he's an unbelievable player, and
he's a monster.
He absolutely is. And Champions League final, he was our best player by country mile. I think he has the potential to be a Van Dijk for the team, and I have no doubt. I think 99 he was born, so 23, 22 now.
Yeah,
he's going to go on to do great things. And I know Joel Matip, you probably put him just ahead of him, right? Would you put Joel Matip if everyone was fit? Would you put him ahead of Matip? Ahead of Konate, sorry.
Based on last season, I thought Matty was playing well, but you could tell near the end of the season that Konate was the main man, and our main one. He always will be for me. If you've got an opportunity to play 2-6-4 dominant with centre halves in Van Dijk and Konate, you'd always play them because it's like a brick wall. You're not getting past that, and if you are getting past it, you've still got Alisson to beat. So it's tough for any attacking midfielder or striker to come against when you've got 2 dominant players. Matip, I love Matip because I love the fact where he does something, especially against low block teams, that you don't necessarily see with centre halves, and it's something that there's a bit of jealousy from Van Dijk in the fact that he goes on these little runs and mazy runs and can create something out of nothing just by him doing that, setting traps for the other team to come out and face him, and then that opens up the gaps in the midfield and in between the lines, and it's great when he does it. Some people don't like it because he puts heart attack. It's like a heart attack moment, but for me, I absolutely. He is, but he's always done that through his career. He done it at Schalke or the German team he was at, and he scored quite a few goals from it. And it's great when he does it because against low block teams, you need something like that. You need something different, and he provides that to us. And he's great with that. He's still a dominant centre back. He hasn't had the best, but the best games this season. He's out of form a little bit, like a lot of the players are at the minute. But tomorrow could be the confidence. Midweek, we score the goals. We show that we can score. If we close it up at the back and keep ourselves compact, then it gives us the opportunity to build on. And that's the foundation and our template for Sunday against them. It'll be more of them having the ball rather than ourselves, I think. And then we have to plan our counter-attacks. We need to plan that ahead and strike when we need to, and then press when we have to. We need to be careful in our approach, but also try and do it in a dominant way. The fans will be behind them, and we need them as a 12th man. And it's not very often that you'd be asking the fans, but I think at times we do need the fans to get behind us, especially when we're low on confidence. We need that. It's like in anything in life. If you're not doing well, you need that arm around you and a bit of support from either your family or your friends to bring you back up, and it gives you a bit of a lift. That's what we need tomorrow in that ground tomorrow. Make it intense. It will be anyway, but it's those moments that you need the fans to help us, to carry us, and that's why Klopp loves us, because of what we do. And we have to make that moment for them, to make it more horrible for them and hostile for them, so that when they come and play against us, they're playing against 13 instead of the 11 that are on the pitch.
Oh, absolutely. I think you said that perfectly well there. In terms of recently in the Premier League, the fans haven't been great, if I dare I say it. I think there's a video on social media that went rounds of, I think it's Brighton when we went 3-2 up, and people didn't even stand up. So I think that kind of says a lot. But all you can do is get behind the team if you're going down. Jan, I know, Kev, you'll be going down there, and I'm sure it'll be a great game. Two absolutely fantastic sides. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But Kostas Tsimikas, Andy Robertson, what have you made of Tsimikas' kind of spell in the team? If you think he's done well, do you think he's kind of stepped up to the mark, or do you think he's kind of been a bit underwhelming?
This is why he's the backup. For me, he's come in, he's done all right. I'll be honest, he hasn't done himself, out of any injustice for playing. He's done all right. For me, I've watched it at times, and I see him more forward than Darwin Núñez or Jota or Salah. He then leaves that space at the back. Now, whether he's being told to do that, then that's fine. But I prefer it when Trent does it, because he's done that naturally, and he has got the gift of doing it. Tsimikas hasn't. His crossing hasn't been as good as what we expected it to be. He commits himself far too easy in tackles and gets rinsed 9 times out of 10 when he does it. He likes a battle, and I don't mind that in me defense, but not when you're going out looking for it yourself for no apparent reason. He needs to learn his positioning. He needs to know when to go in and commit and when not to. And 9 times out of 10, he does it. He got rinsed on Wednesday by Salaha, and it's any other decent side in Europe, we would have had an issue with that. Do you know what I mean? So I'd give him a 6 out of 10 for him being in that position. He hasn't helped himself. He hasn't done much. You know what I mean? He's always out of position for me. He's never. It's hard to tell with Timothy. I feel as though I'm being a bit harsh on him, but at times he commits himself. He lacks it when he's up against anyone with a bit of pace. And if he was playing tomorrow, I'll be more fearful tomorrow with Milner and Tsimikas playing, because they haven't got the pace at the back to deal with the likes of, or defending mentality to deal with what Man City will have in front of us. So I'm glad in a way that Robbo's back. He's a good. He needs to learn he just needs to learn how to defend a little bit more, and be realizing that you can't go in 100% miles an hour and expect to win the ball every time, which he never does. So I'm probably being harsh. I'm sorry, but what have you thought of him? Do you agree, or do you think he has done a decent job at left back for us?
I don't think any of what you've just said is wrong. But I think he's been slightly better in kind of making him out to be. I think maybe it's because Andy Robertson, in my opinion, has been quite underwhelming as well. Maybe that's kind of been that this downgrade hasn't been that much. Maybe that's kind of made him look better. I think that's probably the case there. But yeah, I don't think he's been anywhere near as good as I thought he was going to be when he came in. And in the past, I said he's unbelievable, and his crossing is his speciality. And having it at corners, I think, has helped a lot actually. The delivery because he kind of you can hit a corner. Trent can't.
The worst thing for me is he takes a free kick against Rangers and still hasn't come down.
Mate.
Do you know what I mean? So that's but fair dues to him. I used to do it myself when I was younger, and I end up like 60 miles up in the air. But he's got the confidence. I think it's more of a culture thing with Tsimikas. He's one of those culture figures at the club that people love. We know he's not the best, but he's our Scouse Greek. Do you know what I mean? And he loves it, and he plays up to it a bit. Do you know what I mean? But he needs to. I think the issue is that when he does come in, he looks good, and we've got to realise that games he looks good in are the likes of Norwich in the League Cup, which, let's be honest, the Championship side against lower league sides, he's good. He looks the business. But when you play him up against someone with a bit of pace and someone of a decent game, of a decent stature and are decent at football, like Brighton were last week at home, there's times where he's going in for challenges and you're going, why are you doing that, lad? Just stay on your feet and stay where you are. Get your back, get yourself. Because when he starts doing that, it then opens up that their right-hand side. And then you got two flying down that side. We were lucky against Brighton that they didn't score at times. But he was out of a position for some of those chances and opportunities they had. So it's difficult with him. Do you know what I mean? He's a good. He's done decent, but I'm glad that we got Robbo back, and he probably needed that. But I'll be honest, I don't think many of our players have had a good start to the season. I think they're all a bit out of form. If I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, definitely. It's not like Tsimikas is the worst player in the team or stands up by a mile. It's kind of been everyone's been mediocre and below par, I'd say, to an extent. Even Mo Salah, I know he scored a hat trick, but against Arsenal, I thought he was kind of a shadow of himself. I didn't even know he was playing. I just didn't get the ball. Whenever he did, he looked so weak on the ball. It was like he just totally backed out, just had no confidence at all. But luckily, I had that little spark against Rangers. And do you think going into this one, the link up between, do you think Darwin Núñez will play? And if so, do you think that link up with that sort of big number 9 will make a difference?
I think he will start tomorrow. I think the formation requires him to start tomorrow. The thing with Núñez is he needs game time. He needs more time with the players around him, and we need to adapt to him as well. So we need it's both. The likes of Salah and Bobby need to be able to link up with him better. We're starting to see that in little patches within the game. We've got to remember that Núñez does like a shot. So no doubt tomorrow he'll be shooting from 20, 25 yards. Now that's something that it's unheard of with Liverpool because we tend to pass it. And we don't tend to, and we lose our heads when we start hearing the word shoes and does my head in. Let's not go down that road tomorrow, but he will be doing that. But I think his movement needs to be a little bit better. He'll need to keep the ball a little better than what he does. His touch at the minute, at times, like hitting a brick wall. But he's very raw, and he's the kind of raw player that Klopp can actually build and guide into a very, very good centre forward. We've just got to adapt to him as much as what he's got to adapt to us. And it's just a little bit, it's taking a little bit longer for him because he's come from probably a poor Portuguese league and in which he was dominant and they play differently to the way we do. He's come in and it's a bit of an orc to him, and he's now, instead of a big fish in a small pond, he's now a small fish in a very big pond. Do you know what I mean? So he needs to adapt. He needs to grow. He needs time. But we need time.
So I think the personnel against Rangers, in the other 4 positions, I don't think it's suited him at all. Firmino, you can do with that. but Carvalho, no pacing behind. Elliot, no real
Exactly.
pacing behind. So he's getting the ball, and there's no options feeding off, or very limited options. So I think when Salah came on, whenever players came, even though they went on the pitch with him for very long, to be fair, but just having those players around him in general, I think
Exactly.
it's only going to help him.
But we need to play more to his strength. He
Mm.
loves that ball over the top. Now we need to be playing the ball through the lines to him, and he is making he is running around the pitch, and he is trying to look for those little passes down the line. We're tending not to make. We're very blinkered, but we're not looking at it as an option. At times when he was playing, even in the Palace game before he got sent off, we were looking for him far too much. And then as a defense, they get onto that, and then but that's where you need to be a little bit more tactile with them. Set traps, so when he's doing that, or he comes to comfort the ball, still play the ball over the top because Jota's there. I'd like to see him also play alongside Salah up front, and see how that goes in a 4-4-2 possibly. That's an option I would like to see if possible. Two up front, and have him or even Jota, small man, big man kind of combination, going back in like a Toshak Keegan kind of retro.
Oh, that's where Bobby Firmino can come in and kind of be like
Yeah,
that little
exactly.
trap that you mentioned.
Yeah,
It's a speciality. He's in form right now, double in midweek, and yeah, why can't Bobby Firmino start on Sunday and cause
I think he
trouble?
does.
Yeah.
I actually think he does start. I think he needs to start. He has been unbelievable for us this season, and it's good that we've had at least one of our original forward line who have actually continued to score and create chances. And I'll be honest, not many people would have said at this stage, if I would have said at the start of the season, Bobby would be our leading goal scorer and creating. Everyone would be, no chance, as if that happens because of what's happened the last 18 months. He sacrifices himself more than any other player in what he does. It's nice to see. He's got that smile on his face, and you saw the little flick for Nunez's goal. You know, he's on fire. You'd be a fool not to start him tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? So he's definitely first on the first name on the pitch. Well, second if you include Allison. You know, those
Van
two.
Dijk as well, considering the injuries we've got up front, in defence, sorry, I think Van Dijk, I know he's been kind of under a bit of criticism recently, but yeah, you're not just like that Phillips over him realistically, are you?
No, you're not. But at the same time, I do think that Van Dijk hasn't played well this season. He is not. He hasn't played anywhere near the level that we know he's capable of. He's struggled at times. He struggled last season as well. And I don't know what it is, but for me, I would never be. It's hard with Van Dijk. He's probably the only centre back that we've got that we do not want to stop playing. We want him to play every game because it's a bit like Tottenham with Harry Kane. If you take him off the team, everyone, it's a catch-22. Do you know what I mean? You can never get a rest. He shouldn't be playing in the lower league games, in the League Cups. I get that. He's the game tomorrow. We need our strongest 11, and he is the number one on the pitch. But if it was against someone else, I would be. The way we've done it with Salah and something, we need to do the same with Van Dijk because he hasn't been that good. Do you know what I mean? So let's have it right. So we can't criticize everyone and not him because he hasn't been up to it either this season. So and he deserves the criticism he gets because of the levels and the high standards that this team has. And if you're not reaching that week in, week out, and there's a big drop off, then you are going to be blamed. Do you know what I mean? And you're part of the criticism. It's part of the role. You can't have it all the nice things and not take the bad when it happens. But that's when we stand collective and we come together and we get behind him, and he probably needs. I don't know what it is with the team. I thought the 2 week games that we missed would have helped. But then you hear Klopp saying that, well, that was the worst thing that ever happened. We actually wanted games to play. Do you know what I mean? So it's difficult. But Van Dijk I think he does need the rest at some point if we can give it to him. It's very hard not to though, because with the amount of games we've got to play between now and the first break for the World Cup.
I still think not signing Matip in the summer was a really bad decision. I just look at that and think, why don't we do it? Because and just bring someone younger, someone less injury prone. The last summer to get money for him. Now he's 30, soon out of contract. You're not going to get sort of 25, 30 million for Matip. You're going to be looking lower than that, or maybe 35, 40 before. Now you're going to be looking way below that. And I just think it was silly business and a chance for the club to kind of build on what we always asked for. I know a lot of people saying, "Oh, we need to get Henderson, Milner out, kind of get younger players in." It was a perfect opportunity for that. And I just think in general, we don't do enough of it. I know we did it with Mane for Nunes, and although this stage in the season hasn't worked very well, I think going forwards in the long term, it will be a good purchase for the club. But yeah, going back to the game, final thoughts and any score predictions for tomorrow.
I'll be honest though, every time I put a score prediction on here, I always goes belly up for me. I'll be happy with 3 points tomorrow. I think it will be a hard fought
Absolutely.
game. I think both teams score and we win 2-1, or it'll be 2-2. I just think they will score, we will score, but we need to be able to start games a lot better than what we are doing. And no time's better than against probably our rivals in recent times. So we need to be able to start, and the perfect opportunity tomorrow to get 3 points. And what that would say then for the rest of the league, and the confidence that it'll give the players would be unbelievable if we come out of that with 3 points tomorrow, because I know everyone is expecting City to be dominant tomorrow and win 3-4-0.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think a lot of people are expecting that. Me somewhat included. I don't think it'll be 3-4-0, but I don't know really. I want to say, oh yeah, we're going to win 2-1, but I don't think I've ever predicted us to lose a game. So I'm going to.
I'll be honest, Owen, right? You look at the year when we won when Wijnaldum scored that header, and who had the better team on the pitch? On paper, they were unbelievable, the team that they put out. And we were lucky to get a 1-0 win, people thought. But we can do it. We always find a way. And one thing that this team that we have to give credit to is that they won't give up that easy. And they know how big that game is tomorrow. It's not as if they're going into games and they want to lose them. They're trying to try and win these games. And, I think we can do it. We can do it tomorrow. Pep knows that it's very difficult. His record at Anfield is quite miserable, to be honest. I think he's only got 1 win in 5 or 6. So, he knows that the opportunity for them to try and win tomorrow is possibly the best it's ever been. But he's been in this situation before and has never backed it up when it comes to the game, because this team finds a way, and it annoys him that we always are there and thereabouts, and it scratches his head as if say, how can they still manage to do this? He knows how hard it's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be like a derby tomorrow. And the worst thing about this game gets built up as a big game and a boss game, and there have been goals in the past. But I think it will be more of a compact game. It'll be a midfield battle that will then decide who wins this game, and then it'll be how dominant Haaland can be against the likes of a Gomez or with Van Dijk. We've got to remember is that he will fall onto Robertson or Milner for corners, or for when the ball's coming over the top. He'll be looking for them. He'll be looking at the short places to be heavily reliant on. We can match them. We are capable of winning, and I'll say it again: 2-1, easy win.
Easy. I think I agree with you. I think we can win the game, but I just think it depends. And a lot of factors have to go our way. We have to get all the sort of lucky sort of VAR controversies. All of them have to go for us. I think if we get unlucky on the day, then I really can't see a way in which we get any points.
To be honest, though, Owen, right? It's not necessarily being lucky. We just need to start games better than what we have been. If we start better and more compact and more resolute, then it gives us the opportunity to do better in that game. We can. We don't get me wrong. They will do it. They will come on strong against us, and we have to be resilient to it. But I do think that we have the players to hit them. And on our day, and if we get the counter press right and we attack correctly, then the opportunity is there for us to take. It's not necessarily going down to VR decisions and referee decisions to go our way. It's about starting in the correct mentality and continuing that for the next 95, 98 minutes.
Definitely. 2-2 I'll go with. 2-2 in the end. Repeated last year. I don't think many Liverpool fans would be too opposed to that scoreline.
No.
But thanks to everyone who has joined and watched the stream. Make sure to like the video as always and subscribe. Really, really appreciate it. And hopefully the Reds can bring home a result tomorrow. John by Kev, LFC Transfer Room. See you in a bit.